All right, all right. Shabbat Shalom, Israel. All right, so without further ado, Shabbat Shalom, Israel, to the 12 tribes that are scattered abroad. Welcome back to another segment of the Blue Strip, and happy Sabbath, everybody. We're going to jump right on in. I know the world is going crazy right now, right? The internet has been set ablaze, and all praise be to the Most High. We actually have an opportunity to talk about it a little bit tonight. I'm not going to beat around the bush. The whole world is in an uproar about this man, Charlie Kirk, a debater, someone who has some pretty strong political views, and somebody who actually puts himself on the side of Trump. Has been shot in Utah. As far as I know, the killer or the suspect is currently in custody, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with the person, right? We're not going to waste no time. We're going to jump right on in, and I'm going to set a very strong tone. The Most High, nor should the children of Israel care about a Charlie Kirk. And we're going to get some scriptures, and I'm going to give you some reasons as to why. We don't care. We don't care. As far as I'm concerned, the work of the Most High is being done. As far as I'm concerned, my people, so-called blacks, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans, we still have a lot that we need to overcome, and we still have so much more that we need to work towards as far as our community and our people is concerned. So all praise be to the Most High for that, first and foremost. Let's jump on in. Charlie Kirk. Charlie James Kirk was an American conservative political activist, author, and media personality. He was the chief executive officer of Turning Point Action and a member of the Council of National Policy. In his later years, he was one of the most prominent voices of the populist MAGA movement. Now, we all know Trump and his Make America Great Again campaign. I don't think I need to spend too much time talking about Trump and his views and the things that he said over the years concerning the children of Israel. I think it's very clear to see that they have never been for our people as a whole. We have sellouts in our community. We have sellouts that come from the children of Israel who are happy to put themselves beside men like Charlie Kirk, Donald Trump, and anybody else that's really tied in with America and want to see the betterment of America and want to see a better future for America. A better future for America means a horrible future for Israel. I hope you guys understand that. There's no existence where America can thrive and the children of Israel can be holy, set apart, and at one with the Most High. It just doesn't work that way. In order for this place to continue to thrive and be what it is in the world as a powerhouse today, the only way that works is when the children of Israel are in sin and are under the foot of our oppressors. It's amazing to me how just because people debate, right? And this is big in the Israelite community, and we have to be careful because that debating spirit and wanting to do things in the public eye to be able to sway people in politics or sway lawmakers, and just being crafty and enthusiastic enough with your voice to sway people, that really stems from the Greeks. And we know how much of a problem that was for our people historically, right? We have to be careful with that. We live in a day and age where most people are okay agreeing with our oppressors as long as they make a good point. A lot of our people would side with Satan as long as he was able to make a good point. Well, I don't know. He kind of got a point. I mean, how could you speak against that? That's the state that we're in as a people today, where we are okay with agreeing with people, systems, and countries that are set up to be against us. We will agree with these things as long as they are making some good points, which is ridiculous. Because even for populism, right? Always trying to be there for the greater good of the people or the common people, that doesn't work with us being the children of Israel, because we weren't called to be the same or equal to any of the other nations that are set up on the earth right now. We were called to be above them. We are the standard of this earth. It's not a good enough thing for us to be here in America fighting for privileges, fighting for laws, fighting for things that make our people equal with everybody else, when the Most High has already given us a set of laws that we were supposed to govern ourselves by. There's no democracy that you read about in the scripture. I hope you guys understand that. We're so comfortable with democracy here in America, we feel like that spills over into the scriptures. Like, well, maybe if I make good enough points, we could sway things to have people living differently. Maybe if I can make a strong enough debate or bring a strong enough cause that we can live this way, when it's contrary to the way that the Most High God has already outlined our lives to be. This is where we fall into problems, right? And it's sad because Charlie, it wasn't that he was just a debater. He was somebody who proudly walked around as a Christian. He did these debates with Christian faith and a certain swag about himself that had people who read the Bible say, you know what, this is a guy worthy of following. Just look at what he's saying. Nobody can defeat his logic, his rhetoric. Therefore, God must be with this man. Well, guess what? We got a lot to read tonight, because I got to show my people the pitfalls that America continuously puts in our faces, and we keep falling for the same trick. We keep falling for the same trick, Israel. As much chaos and toxicity that is spewing in our communities, we're more focused with politics and debates. You don't read about our people debating in the scriptures because there's nothing to debate about. The law has been set. Prophecy has already been set, and we see it unfolding. What are we debating about? We got to be careful. We're going to go to the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 7 and verse 23. And it reads, "And what one nation in the earth is like thy people, even like Israel, whom God went to redeem for a people to himself." You see, the problem with Charlie is he's a modern-day Christian. And modern-day Christianity is not the truth that the Bible highlights nor teaches for our people to follow. The ideas of modern-day Christianity is flawed, and a lot of it is heresy. You can't sit here and speak about making this utopia of a place here in America and laws that's going to benefit everybody, great and rich and poor and small and great. They're never going to align themselves with what the Bible says as far as the position that so-called black and brown people are supposed to be in on this earth. When you look at Charlie Kirk and his views towards so-called black and brown people, they weren't favorable. Yet, if you go to the internet right now, you'll see a lot of people kind of stuck in the middle. You'll see people swayed on one side saying, man, you know what? It's a sad thing what happened to this dude. Some people would even say it's Satan. Satan wanted to take out one of God's soldiers. And then on the other side, you got people conflicted saying, man, I don't know. I don't really care about this guy. He has some strange things to say. He's a devil. He's a devil. Because as much good and as much scripture that he would like to speak about and how things should be in a righteous world, he never lined those things up with the Bible and put us in our rightful spot. And I actually have a few excerpts and a couple of quotes from this man, Charlie Kirk, and what he said and how he thought about our people as a whole. You shouldn't feel no type of way for this guy. And it's crazy because just weeks prior, everything leading up to his demise, right, on that Utah campus, he had a lot of negative things to say about our people, like how most gun violence, especially white males, most white males or white people would experience violence by way of gun from a black person or from a Hispanic, right? how you're more prone to see violence coming from these groups of people. And look at the irony for this person to be shot down by somebody of his own nation. Last time I checked, blacks and Latinos aren't the ones shooting up schools and hospitals. Last time I checked, historically, black and Latino people are not known for taking other nations of people and subjugating them and treating them like property, treating them like trash, treating them like cattle. We're not known for that historically. They are. But just like the devil and just like Satan, being a false accuser, being that deceiver, of course, they have to paint the narrative to look a little bit different. America is known for sweeping its own filthy ways, putting that off to the side, but highlighting the insecurities, the mishaps, and all the shortcomings of our people, so-called blacks and browns. When we mess up, they want to highlight it and show the world. When they mess up, they want to sweep it under the rug and put it away. Just like with the Edomite that got stabbed, the Ukrainian woman that got stabbed, the young girl, she got stabbed and died on the train, right? And behind her is the black man, big scary black man who just with no sense, there's no rhyme or reason, just took this poor girl's life, painting him out to be this villain, right? And note, I want to say what that person did isn't lawful according to the Bible. The Bible is not a proponent of murder for no reason. But this is what I will say, and most people is not going to like it. The Most High can use whoever he wants for whatever he wants. And we've seen time and time again throughout the scripture where the Most High will use somebody to exact his vengeance on a people or on a person. One example that comes to mind is Samson. Some people would argue and wonder why Samson was doing the things that he did, why he was messing with the Philistine woman. Ultimately, the Most High said he sought an occasion against the Philistines. And Samson ended up becoming the person that the Most High would use to execute judgment by God on the Philistines. There's another scripture in the book of Amos where the Most High says, is there any type of casualty? Is there any type of death that goes on in a city and I'm not the one responsible for it? You see, Christianity is not going to teach from that viewpoint. All of the senseless murders and things like that that go on that Christians cry and struggle with, the Most High says, you know what, it's very simple for me, it's judgment. The Most High executes his judgment every single day, but we don't understand exactly what's going on. Therefore, it leaves a lot of people lost and confused. So let me go back and finish reading this. And what one nation in the earth is like thy people, even like Israel, whom God went to redeem for a people to himself, and to make him a name, and to do for you great things and terrible for thy land before thy people, which thou redeemest to thee from Egypt. This is the same God who plagued Egypt with 9 plagues before sending the 10th, which killed all the firstborn in every single house throughout the whole land of Egypt. This is the same God that we're talking about. Why is there so much death going on? Why would somebody shoot and take out Charlie Kirk? This is the same God that we're talking about. This is the same God. All of this confusion is only coming because of the lies that have been perpetuated throughout time concerning this book. They've never taught us the truth, and they continue to spill lies that the population really just takes in as truth. So now when we sit here and start talking about, oh yeah, the Most High is the reason why somebody like Charlie Kirk can be shot and killed, assassinated in public like that. This is the same God who allowed his son, his only begotten son, Jesus Christ, to be hung on a cross and executed. This is the same God. If it's going to be true in one instance, it's got to be true for all instances. What's unfortunate is I keep seeing our people fall more in line with the ways of America and less in line with the ways of the Most High. I've said it before and I'll say it again. We went from being African American to Israelite American. Because we still haven't fully made that change. We're not after the Most High's heart how we need to be as a people. It's too many of us comfortable with the things that's going on in America. We're trying to shape ourselves to be more American than Hebrew. And it's a problem. It is a problem. Verse 24. For thou hast confirmed to thyself thy people Israel to be a people unto thee forever. And thou, Lord, art become their God. And now, O Lord God, the word that thou hast spoken concerning thy servant and concerning his house, establish it forever and do as thou hast said. Most people cannot get over the fact that when you're really walking this walk, you're not concerned about the other nations. Reason being, because they're going to serve us forever. It's a sad space where I'm seeing Israel go back and forth over, can the Gentiles or the heathens be saved? Is salvation only for Israel? Like, the fact that we're still talking about this lets us know how immature we are spiritually and how small our understanding is concerning the word of the Most High God. King David ruled over all of Esau during his kingdom. Nobody bats an eye. Nobody's arguing about that. But yet, here we are today. We're being ruled by Esau. And when we bring out scriptures like the book of Obadiah, which we're going to go to a little bit later, and we talk about how there's already a set judgment, there's already a set punishment for so-called white people, what is there to argue about? I'm not going to argue with you over something that God has already established. It's been here. And it's not going to change. All of these Israelites just in a weird space like, oh, if you a weirdo Israelite talking about you hate other nationalities because of their skin color or who they descend from, we don't rock with none of that. And you weird, stay over there. You need to watch out for people like that. Because last time I checked, we have a whole feast day that is around the fact that we slaughtered our enemies. Or do you not celebrate the Feast of the Dedication? We have history where we went to war with other nations. You don't kill and go to war with other nations that you love and that the Most High wants you to be at peace with. So where is all this confusion stemming from? It's because we're in Babylon. This is that great whore. Everybody drunk with the wine of this place and confused. People out here respecting great debaters and prolific speakers. But where's this energy towards the righteous? That's the problem with my people Israel. We give more respect for people that have an outstanding career compared to those that are really doing the things of the Most High God. But it's been that way historically. Look how they treated the prophets of old. Look how they treated the seers. Men who really had a heart after the Most High, they started to be pushed to the side and say, we really don't want to hear all of that. We'd rather hear these smooth things. We want to hear Charlie Kirk and all these other clowns out here in these open forums debating, making good points. This is what we'd rather hear as a nation of people. And the thing is, a lot of the debate that people do now is sown in deceit. Because they're finding craftier and craftier ways to sell you lies. That's what nobody's talking about. They want to sit here and debate politics, and they want to debate foreign policy or even policy here about who should get what, how things should be dispersed, who's deserving of this, what resources should we allocate here, who should receive them. They would rather debate these things instead of the righteousness that's talked about in this Bible. Because last time that I've checked, the only thing that's going to save the children of Israel is our righteousness. Not how many debates you've won, not how many scholars that you've stumped, not how many studies have you underwent. None of those things are going to help save our people as a whole. It always boils down to how much are we in submission to the Most High's law? What are we willing to sacrifice as a people If we're living in a space to where we can't keep the law of the Most High, what are we willing to sacrifice as far as our livelihood to be in a position to keep God's laws and save ourselves? That's why the great men of the scriptures, they don't get highlighted in today's times. They're not going to highlight a Judas Maccabeus or a Mattathias. Men who said, you know what, we'd rather up and leave the comfort of our homes and get rid of our livelihood so that we could go to somewhere else and be amongst ourselves, keeping our laws, statutes, and commandments. And if anybody has a problem with it, we're willing to fight to the death for it. Nobody wants to highlight individuals like that. They want to highlight all these people that like to pacify the crowds. They want to highlight the Al Sharptons. They want to highlight the people that are smooth talkers and sell deceit to my people. These are the Israelites that get highlighted, or the characters in Babylon who get highlighted. We got to understand this, Israel. Right? Let's go to the book of Ezekiel 44. And we're going to read verse 23 and 24. It says, and they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and profane. Where is that happening within these debates? Since we're talking about debates, all of these debates that are going on within the Israelite community, right? Who's going above and beyond to debate the things that are keeping our people unholy and profane? And that's why I love Bishop Tzion, because he's always going to be a straight shooter and tell us like how it is. There's no friendly fades in Israel. You got clowns that will sit here and debate one another. And while the debate is happening, they low-key got some strong words for each other. They say things to slight one another's character, to discredit one another. And then after the debate is over, oh, you know, it was just all love. And shout out to these brothers, man. And shout out to these brothers over here. And that's clown activity. The only reason we should be debating should be in reasons concerning why our people would be learning the difference between holy and profane. If I'm ever going to debate, you better believe I'm doing it to knock somebody completely off their square and to stop my people from following individuals that are not worthy to be followed. I'm not going to debate somebody and then afterwards be like, but you know what? They're still my brother and it's all good and it's all love. No. If I'm debating anybody, it's because they're completely wicked and they have a following. And my people need to know that this person is not worthy of being followed. Simple as that. And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and profane, and cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean. Our people are not in a space spiritually where we are able to discern filthy versus clean Israelites. Because all of these filthy Israelites that our people are still entertained by, they have the ear. They have the support. They have a piece of our people's heart. That right there lets us know that we're not in the space to discern these things, because if you could discern that somebody is a hazard or a problem for your community, why would you support them? Why would you continue to share your resources with them? And you have to understand how the Most High feels about it, because when you're doing that, you're taking away from the people that really need it, the lost sheep. And it's sad because that's really what it is right now. We got sheep and we got wolves. We don't have too many shepherds that are leading the sheep. So that causes them to be taken away by the wolves. Nobody seems to have a problem with this. It's just all entertainment. Everybody getting their views up. Everybody getting their little YouTube money. But damn, is it all about the money? At what point do we sit here and say, you know what? We need to do better as a people. The ones that's leading right now are not fit. And we need to be in a space to where we're finding replacements. If we can't find the replacements, we need to build the replacements. We need to be teaching the young generation exactly what we're reading about right now. How to make that difference between holy and profane. How to discern between the clean and the unclean. It says, and in controversy, They shall stand in judgment, and they shall judge it according to my judgments, and they shall keep my laws and my statutes in all mine assemblies, and they shall hallow my Sabbaths. This is the work that the Most High is setting up for us to complete. It's a disservice when we sit here and try to find a space for us within the U.S. government and its political system. This place is not set up for the betterment of an Israelite. I keep telling y'all this. The Most High keeps showing us this. This place is not for us. We got people that's more invested in seeing the political system of America come through for black people than actually what the Most High has set up, which is the return of his son to set up a new government that's going to be set up in righteousness. More people are looking forward. More people have hope in America getting things together to make a better future for blacks and Latinos than they do in waiting for Yahweh Shai, Jesus Christ, to come back and set up a new government. Y'all don't think that's odd? We see one Edomite who wants better for his nation and his country, and we try to find similar talking points, and we think that these people are actually fighting for us. Charlie Kirk would sit here and debate people all day, and you got black people just, amazing point, amazing point. Look how he stumped this person. And the thing is this, the most dangerous lie is the one that has a little bit of truth in it. A Charlie Kirk can sit here and stand up and debate LGBTQ people and let them know that they're blatantly wrong. And we think, oh, yeah, this person, this is the right one. Dude, that's Satan. Satan don't have no problem giving us a little bit just so that he could take us in the long run. And I want to add this too. Real Christians are Israelites. Just because he has some Christian views that seemingly would make for a better future for our people doesn't mean that that's exactly what's on their heart. I'm going to read this for you real quick, because our people, we're still in a space to where we're getting caught up. The book of Acts, chapter 11 and verse 26. And when he had found him, he brought him unto Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. And the disciples, note, the disciples are Israelites. These are so-called black and brown people that we're talking about. When they're assembling, when they're going to Antioch and doing these work, assembling and building and fortifying these churches, these are assemblies of so-called black and brown people. We're not talking about white people. We're not talking about Asians. We're not talking about Arabs. This is specifically Israelites that we're talking about. Let's see what they were called. It says, and the disciples were called Christians. Being a Christian wasn't a term of endearment. This was, something that was a label that was thrown on people that was a negative label. It wasn't a good thing to be called a Christian at this time, seeing that the churches were going through a lot of persecution. When you guys get a chance, read what real Christians did in this Bible. They didn't just stand up in audiences and debate, for brownie points. Our people were going to bat for our people, so-called blacks, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans, saying, hey, we need our own, because under these establishments and other governments and other provinces that we're all scattered to, we're not doing too well. They have us practicing all types of witchcraft. They're taking us further away from our God. Our children are subject to seeing the nonsense that's going on, and they're growing up to be like the places that they live in. We're getting pushed further and further away from our God. Paul, look at what it was like for him being tried before Felix. That wasn't no small matter. And he wasn't doing it on behalf of all mankind. That's the thing that I hate about today. They're going to sit here and stand up on Christian beliefs and sit here and make these arguments as if God cares about all mankind. He doesn't. I know that's hard for some people to swallow. They like, what? God does not care about everybody on this earth. And I'm going to show it to you. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy. Chapter 7. And we're going to read verse 6. It reads, "For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God." This is talking about Israel. Moses was speaking to the people that just left Egypt. The same Egypt that got destroyed. They almost weren't a nation after we left that place. So you know God clearly can't love everybody if he just got done killing all the firstborn in the land of Egypt. And before that, there was 9 other plagues that was causing, you could only imagine how many deaths. That right there is proof that the Most High doesn't care about everybody. But I'm going to continue to read on. "For thou, Israel, art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth." That right there lets me know that I have no business debating anybody about what the fate of the other nations are or where we should be at here in America. We have no space debating that. As far as I'm concerned, my people is serving a sentence. When this sentence is done, we're getting ready to be set up to be back on top, ruling, while the rest of the world serves us. And what better people to serve than the chosen of the Most High God? We got laws that's going to clear up all the confusion. And it's crazy because when you actually read the prophecies that come of what the kingdom is going to be like, there's not going to be a need for war. It talks about all the instruments of war that these nations have. We sitting here worried about Trump and the big button that he got. We worried about North Korea and the missiles they got. We worried about Russia and the... Look, in the Bible, it says that all those weapons of warfare is going to be beaten and taken away. They're going to be taking all that scrap metal and they're going to be turning it into items used for farming. There's going to be peace on earth once black people, brown people, once we are rightfully set back on top. It's crazy for me just to see the content that this guy Charlie would make, going on college campuses, you know, challenging the youth, knowing that they don't know no better. They're in institutions that aren't even set up for them to be taught a real education. They're being spoon-fed information, right, that's making them just like everybody else. No one really knows how to critically think, which is why he would stump a lot of these people, because they're coming from a background of an institution that's not teaching them to critically think. These same institutions that people are so proud to graduate from, they spend $150,000 in college on a bunk degree that doesn't get them nowhere. And after all those years of schooling, so-called education, and debt, they can't even tell you what nationality they are and who they descend from according to this Bible. What type of education is that? For all of that, they never teach our people, so-called blacks, browns, right? They never teach us how to do the things that we need to do to be a successful nation of our own. What type of education are they really giving us? And the fact that we're still buying into this and thinking that that's where we need to be pushing our children is insane. It is insane. Why would I sit here and go back and forth with a Charlie Kirk about reparations when the Bible is clear? And that's the sad part, because I've seen a few videos where he would talk to black students about reparations, and he was a strong proponent against reparations. Says, hell no. Why should I, as a white male, have to pay or give anything to you when you physically did not undergo any of that slavery or any of that hardcore stuff that our forefathers and ancestors went through? The nerve of that devil to even say something like that. But it's okay. We got scriptures on that too. The Most High is definitely a proponent of reparations, and I'm going to show you that a little bit. Let's go back to this point up here. In Micah chapter 2 and verse 10, this is worthy to be noted by my people because we find so much comfort and solitude here in America. We're like, We're like dogs that have finally been let off the leash, but still not allowed to leave the front yard. That's what I would compare my people to today. Before, you was in the front yard, but you was shackled up on that chain. You could only go so far. Now, Master, he says, you know what? You've been so trained. You such a good boy. I'm going to take you off the leash. Now you can run around this whole yard, but you still can't leave. That's how I look at my people today. We think America is somehow, in some way, just magically one day going to say, you know what? We should do better by black and brown people. The fact that we still vote. We've been voting for how long, and things only seem to be getting worse and worse. What else do we need to see for us to make the overall conclusion to say, you know what? We was better off by ourselves. Our people are so scared to be a nation. It's sad. Like, this slavery has done a hell of a job on our people. We're so scared to live amongst one another. It's like we can't even operate and live right unless we're oppressed. Our people are more comfortable being oppressed because systems and policies and things are already set up. Life is already moving, right? It's not a whole lot of guesswork here. Our people would rather live here because it's already a functioning society, instead of saying, you know what? We're willing to get rid of all of this to live amongst ourselves and have true peace. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. And I'm not lying, because if you have conversations with your people, fellow Israelites, talk about how we need to up and move. Let's start our own communities. Let's do this. Let's start our own businesses. Look at the fear that they're going to meet you with. Well, what if it doesn't work out? I mean, how could you be so sure that you're going to be successful? I mean, but just think about everything that could go wrong. And damn, you happy here, aren't you? You comfortable here in oppression, aren't you? You love the fact that you have to wake up every single day and clock in and work for another person's business, and you making them millions. You love that, don't you? Nah, I don't love that. We need to have our own. We should be doing this. But as soon as you start talking like that, look at the fear and the doubt that you're met with. It's a lot to talk about, Israel. It's a lot to talk about. Micah chapter 2 and verse 10. Arise ye and depart. The Most High says for Israel, there is a certain level, there is a certain space we need to be in to depart from what it is that we're used to. I'm not sitting there saying you need to up and leave everything that you know and move to some weird country. I'm not saying that. But what are you able to do in the spaces that you're in to create a righteous environment for you and your people? Because departing isn't always physical. There's a huge part of us that needs to depart mentally and spiritually from this place. We're so caught up and invested in America, we think just like an American. It's the same reason why a woman doesn't even think twice of it. Not in America, it's more appropriate for a woman to have multiple baby daddies than it is for a man to have multiple wives. And we think that's okay. A woman won't think twice about getting pregnant by another man, but will raise hell if a man wants to pursue another woman. This is how destroyed we are as a nation of people. And note, blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, we're only here because one man had 4 wives. But the American woman will beat you down if you talk about polygyny. And the American man has been so emasculated, we feel like we don't even deserve to build our families and our communities in that fashion. It's honestly sad. It's honestly sad. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. This is not the resting place of so-called blacks and Latinos. This is not the place that the Most High envisioned for you to reap all your blessings. That is not what America is. We're serving a sentence here. Shalom, Ak. We're serving out a sentence. This is not our rest. Meaning, this isn't the place where we should be thinking about this is our end-all, be-all. I should be gathering all my resources and spending all my money for this to be my final resting place. That is not what the Most High intended for us here in this land. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you. This place is so polluted, it has destroyed us. The mentality of people here is polluted completely. Every year, you can do the data, right? Look at the data and look at all the numbers of violence in America. Every year, it gets worse and worse because the spirits that the Most High has sent on this place is plaguing people. In the book of Revelation, this place is called Babylon the Great. It says it's the cage of every unclean and foul spirit. And we take that and we say, yeah, I think this is where I want to raise my kids. And I'm proud to be an American. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. If a man walking in the spirit of falsehood do lie, saying, I will prophesy unto thee of wine and of strong drink, it says, he shall even be the prophet of this people. The Most High is letting us know this place is so corrupt, he's given us over to our vile imaginations. It says, if you don't have enough common sense to see that this place is not for you, and you going to allow someone to come and prophesy lies talking about, yeah, the Most High is going to give you an increase in this land. Yeah, many blessings is coming your way in this land. The Most High says you're worthy of having that person as your prophet. Go ahead and follow him and destroy yourself. Our forefathers understood enough back in the day, right? As ancient as that may be, we didn't have all the fancy technology that we have today. They understood back then that we needed to be in a space that was for us. And how could you ever get that in a place that's being ruled by the person that brought you here, chained up on boats? This ain't the message they want to hear, though. This isn't the popular message. This isn't what America is going to fuel the minds of the youth with. Right? It says, if a man walking in the spirit and falsehood do lie, saying, I will prophesy unto thee of wine and strong drink, he shall even be the prophet of this people. And this is what our people love to see. Because I'm going to call a spade a spade. There's a lot of false prophets amongst the children of Israel. And they go by many different names, many different camps, many different YouTube channels, many different debates. You'll see it all. And they're all lying to you, teaching you things that the Most High said it's not adequate. That's not meat for my people to be learning. And the space for us to be as bad as it is, you would think that there would be more of a gathering and concerted energy towards fixing the things that causes us to stay at the bottom. But instead, everybody's only chasing money. And it's sad for all of these leaders that are set up, getting the people for their money. Driving all types of fancy cars, but have a Zoom ministry. Don't even have a building for you to come and enjoy. Don't have resources that they're willing to share with you, but it's all about gimme, 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 gimme. And that's the problem, because even when you look at the culture of America, it stems from ancient Greece, especially like around the 5th century in Athens, where they say the democracy was born, right? You had teachers who were called sophists or sophists, and their main job was to teach young men how to be able to debate in public squares, how to be able to argue points on any side, because that was looked at as a form of intelligence, and those people were used to help sway lawmakers and pass things on and get votes. That's where the culture of this place stems from. The things that are being debated isn't even always beneficial for the people, but for the fact that it could be debated, it was entertaining. And that's a problem. When things that are concerning our people's souls are more entertaining than it is frightening, you really have to question the state of where we are as a people. We're going to sit here and debate whether the new moon is the dark moon or if it's a lunar Sabbath, and that's taken lightly, as if it's not a death penalty to be keeping the Most High Sabbaths the wrong way. It's entertainment for a lot of folks. A lot of people's souls are in grave danger, and for all of that, our people are looking to be entertained. Niggas is looking to get clout, likes, and views from this, and there's not a real care for the people. You got to question the state of where we at. And it makes all the more sense on why so many people is going to be caught off guard, caught with their pants down when Christ returns. He said you was focused on the wrong thing. You didn't have eyes to see, and you didn't have ears to hear because you was too busy being entertained. The book of Revelation, chapter 12, and verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down. Here's the thing about a Charlie Kirk. He was used by Satan and was an all-out devil. How many times did he falsely accuse our people? Falsely accusing about how we operate, how we move, our mannerisms, what we're prone to do. A false accuser. It's a sad day when a false accuser is taken out and our people aren't even in a rejoicing state saying, thank you, God, getting this monkey off my back. Another one bites the dust, but instead you got prayers going out, and he was a father and a faithful Christian. No, the hell he wasn't. He wasn't. If he really believed in the Bible like he thought he did or like he proclaimed to do, then guess what? He would have did right by God's chosen people, so-called blacks and browns. He would have did right by us, but instead falsely accuses us of being dumb, being incompetent, being prone to violence, being prone to murder. Like all of these things has come out of his mouth. And people are starting to hear about it now, and they be like, oh, okay, well, maybe it's not such a bad thing that someone took him out. Let me share some of the things that he said about our people. He said, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Because he had already stated that black people basically aren't competent enough to be able to fly these type of planes or fly these type of machines. Why would you look at a black pilot and say, boy, I hope he's qualified? When I look at white people, I say, boy, I hope he has some home training, because I know they're prone to shooting things up and acting belligerent in public. You start saying that, they're going to say, oh, you're racist. But he says these things and nobody says he's racist. He says, what's happening all the time in urban America, anytime urban is used, you already know who's being spoken about, blacks and Latinos. Happening all the time in urban America, prowling blacks go around for fun to go and target white people. That's a fact, and it's happening more and more. Oh, goddamn. Whoever took that shot from 200 yards away on that Utah campus, he damn sure wasn't black. Wasn't brown. Interesting words to say, though. And he can get on forums and openly say these things and get the love of the people, even black people. And this is not seen as a problem. How they continue to spread this false narrative about Israelites. It's a shame. If I'm dealing, this is also something that he said. He said, if I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder if she's there because of her excellence or is she there because of affirmative action? As if, and here's the thing. He speaks about affirmative action in such a derogatory way, as if my people, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, aren't in a space to where we're deprived of certain resources, deprived of certain education that would help us to propel our communities. We're going to act like we're not deprived of these certain things, because affirmative action is basically knowing how to allocate certain resources or employment to groups of people who are less deserving or don't have. We gonna sit here and act like our schools are teaching us and preparing us for the world at the same level of these white schools and these, like, come on, man. I don't know about y'all. I come from LAUSD. I come from being in schools to where teachers don't even want to be there. Teachers aren't showing up because they're underpaid, right? And they're dealing with all of these kids that's coming from these broken homes, and it's toxic. The schools are a mess. The teachers don't even want to show up and deal with the nonsense that these kids is bringing. We gonna sit here and act like that doesn't exist. So when I'm dealing with an idiotic, moronic black woman in customer service, I have to wonder, is she here because of her excellence or is she there because of affirmative action? What a devil. What a damn devil. It's crazy. When you're someone of another nation and you come here to America, you're awarded so many more opportunities for business development and overall growth for your family. Those things aren't awarded to our people. You have to fight tooth and nail and scratch at the surface of and knock on the doors of so many people just to get a pinch of what the other people are awarded just for being not an Israelite. They can act like it's not true all they want, but this is a fact. He says, if you're a WNBA pot-smoking black lesbian, right, which we know we're not for anyways, but he says, do you get treated better than a United States Marine? What did I read to you out of the scriptures? When our people are not in a state of sin, right, when we're not pot-smoking black lesbians, right, when we're righteous and serving the Most High God, you better believe we are better than a U.S. Marine. We're better than everybody else on this earth. That's according to the Bible that this clown said he believed in. Now, I bet you he'll never, well, he ain't got the opportunity now, but he never would have had that conversation about blacks and Latinos being the real Jews of this Bible, because he actually had a lot to say about the so-called Israelis and everything that's happening on the Middle East. Now, once did I ever hear him say, hey, according to the Bible, the real Jews are so-called people of color. It's insane. It's insane. And we sit here and debate policy. We debate all of these different laws and motions that they're moving through Congress as if this place isn't historically known for going back on their word. Let's ask the Native Americans, how did all those treaties that they were met with go? How did they end up? You know, and I hate people like Charlie Kirk because they act like the moral compass of white people has always been the standard for civilization, when in fact they had to be civilized. White people had to be taught how to wash their behinds while they was crawling around in those caves and those mountains. Books and history talking about how these people were so filthy they would wear the same clothes for days on end till it was basically falling off their bodies. People like Charlie Kirk will never tell the truth about the origins of his people. And he will never tell the truth about who he actually is, being an Edomite, a descendant of Esau, somebody who was born to be hated by God. He will never speak on those things, nor any of his colleagues. Never. But will sit here and force feed nonsense to the masses about the tendencies of so-called black and brown people, what we're prone to do. It makes me sick. It makes me sick. Let's read this. Daniel chapter 8 and verse 25. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. This is the way of Esau. He will create laws and bylaws, different policies, different institutions and organizations. Man, the rabbit hole goes so deep with this guy. He will create all of these things just so that craft will prosper in his hand. He knows how to be crafty and in such a way to where it benefits his people. All in the same breath while causing others to look at a different group of people as if they're less than. I remember when I was a kid hearing about the Iraq War and all of that. Today is September 11th, right? Oh, no, that was yesterday. Today's the 12th. And I remember the news and media putting this information out in such a way to where anytime I saw somebody with a turban, I automatically assumed that they were a terrorist. That is the power of what Esau can do through his policy and his craft. Because I never looked at Esau as a goddamn terrorist. I never looked at white people as terrorists. Up until the Most High woke me up to the truth about who we are and who they are. This is the same person that will teach you slave history, but will have you to believe that people in turbans, sweating in the desert, driving around in Toyotas are a threat to our society. It's insane. It is insane. And through his policy also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. And here's the thing. Just look at the attitudes of these Edomites when they debate. It's filled with pride. Filled with pride. Knowing that what they own don't make no sense. Because they know in the back of their heart, in the back of their soul, they got the judgment that's coming to them. That's the worst part. Satan is doing all that he could right now because he knows that his time is coming to an end. He knows this. And it's not just Satan, it's the vessels that Satan moves through. Esau knows this. That's why Trump is trying to set up a space force to fight off all these intergalactic beings that are coming to save black and brown people, whether you believe it or not. It says, he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. You see, there's a judgment that's coming to this place. And can't nobody lend a helping hand to America once the Most High put his hands on them. Once the Most High starts sending his plagues and his judgments to this place, like how the Bible outlines, because judgment is already going on. The fact that it's so hard for America to produce natural foods without the use of GMO and all these other things that's going on in laboratories, that's a plague in itself. The Most High is getting ready to destroy this place and everybody that's in league with it. If you an Israelite, you want to stand in solidarity with America, the Most High ain't tripping. He just said, just know that you coming up next. When the Most High chops America, your head is coming up next. Actually, the Most High said that judgment is going to start with Israel first. You're going to get it worse. It's easier to take a step back and take a stand with the Most High. Right? And here's the thing, too, that I was talking about earlier, because he spoke about reparations, and his exact words was that he's against reparations because the justice system, when you properly understand how it's supposed to work, is not set up for tribes or groups to receive justice, but individual persons. That's why he says reparations makes no sense. We don't deserve it because we didn't go through it. But let me show you what the Most High is on. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 1. It says, "For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob." We're going to drop down to verse 21. I had to bring that out because it's setting a tone. The Most High is saying at the end of the day, when this world is destroyed and all of that, the only people he cares about is his chosen, so-called blacks and Latinos, so-called Native Americans. He's the one that is going to have mercy upon our people. Not Esau, not the other nations, none of that. And we're going to get set back in our own land. That same land that they fighting over right now, the Most High is preparing it for us. They doing all the demolition work, and we going to get there, they're going to build it up for us. That's what's going on, literally. This is prophecy that has not yet happened, soon to come. When you start reading through Isaiah chapter 14, right? Get to verse 21. It says, "Prepare slaughter." Part of the judgment of the Most High is for us to prepare slaughter for Esau, so-called white people. He said, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers. So this dude, Charlie Kirk, can proudly say, blacks and browns, Israelites don't deserve nothing for what our forefathers went through. Most High said, all right, cool. Well, guess what? I'm getting ready to slaughter y'all for what your forefathers did. The Most High is all about reparations. The Most High is a God of justice. That is justice. If he can't make the people that was responsible pay, he's going to make their descendants pay for what they did. Now, here's the thing, Israel. It's no different with us. Last time I checked, and I can't prove it, but I don't know what was going on 500 years that caused Israel to be over here today. But we're paying for the sins of our forefathers. They sinned and are not, and we're sitting here paying for their sins. Why would it be any different for Esau or any of the other nations who had a hand to play in Israel's demise? Why would it be any different? The Bible says, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. This is the God of the Christians. They don't want to talk about this. Is it a sad thing that Charlie Kirk got offed? No, it's not. Because guess what? I'm pretty sure down the line his forefathers is responsible for some pretty horrific stuff that happened to our people. That little Ukrainian girl that got stabbed up on the train, is it sad that she died? No, because you don't know who she descends from. You don't know what her forefathers had done to our people. Now, was it right for that man to go ahead and do it on his own accord? Nah, I can't say that. But if the Most High used him for that purpose, then guess what? The Most High is the one that's going to judge that person at the end of the day. I can't do nothing for him. Do we teach to go out and murder? Of course not. It's against the law of the Most High. But we're not going to sit here and act like the Most High doesn't do what he does. The Most High will sit here and use anybody for anything. And this is where we have to do a better job at training our people and getting us more comfortable with what the Most High is actually setting up compared to what we've been taught. Because a lot of us have not seen the Most High in a fashion where, I'm going to be honest, if we was there really seeing what was going on during the wilderness and how the Most High was executing judgment, a lot of us would not keep the same mentality that we have today of just this loving and forgiving God. You would understand why we ought to fear the Most High God. But Christianity doesn't teach that. It makes our people soft and it makes us passive. And that damages us as a people because we lose the connection with the Most High when we start to follow lies and we don't follow truth. That's just what it is. It says, cut them off slaughter them for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord. This is the God that we serve. This is the patience and the faith of the saints. This is what we're waiting on. And we're not going to be shamed about it either. We're not going to be ashamed about it. This is what I want y'all to understand. We're still confused about who our enemy is. Esau can smile. Esau can even hold the door open for you. If you drop some money, Esau can say, hey, excuse me, sir, you dropped this. And that does not mean that he is not still our enemy. This is what I need my people to understand. Let's read this. Genesis chapter 27 and verse 32. This is the beginning of so-called white people and the Israelites. And Isaac, his father, said unto him, who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn, Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, who? Where is he that hath taken venison and brought it me? And I have eaten all before thou camest, and have blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed. When you understand what happened with Jacob and Esau, there was an agreement that was made between the two brothers. Esau was hungry and said, you know what? I'm willing to sell you my birthright. I will give up my birthright, which is the blessings. The firstborn gets a double portion of blessings from the father. And in this case, we're talking about the ultimate blessing that had been passed down from Abraham to Isaac, right? We're talking about eternal life. We're talking about everything. He said, I'm willing to sell you that for some raw meat because I'm just so hungry. I need something to eat right now. Jacob said, you serious? He said, yes. He said, all right, cool. That's on you. Agreement was made. They shook hands. They went their way. Jacob, right, went to his father, acted like he was the firstborn, and said, man, I'm here to collect on the deal. I want the blessing. And it was given to him. Esau comes in, right? He finds out, damn, my blessing was given away. And look at what happens. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, bless me, even me also, my father. And he said, thy brother came with subtlety and have taken away thy blessing. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord. Do y'all see that? Black people by inheritance, so-called Latino people, Native Americans by inheritance, we are to lord over white people. They do not belong over us. That's according to the Bible. But because of our sins and because we continuously turn our back on God, he said, I'm going to give you over to them. By birthright and by the blessing that was given to us, we are not supposed to be subservient to white people. Charlie Kirk would never speak on this, ever, ever. Donald Trump will never speak on this, ever. But it's facts. It says, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. Meaning, you know what? I don't know how, don't know why or how, some way it's going to happen, but you know what? I know what's going to happen for you. You're going to end up enjoying the best parts of this earth. That's why we see Esau living up in Palos Verdes and the Hollywood Hidden Hills and enjoying the things that this earth has to offer. That's his blessing that he gets right now. Ours is to come in the next life, the next world to come, when it's ruled in righteousness through the King of Kings, Yahushua HaMashiach. A king that's going to have nothing but black and Latino kings under him. People going to have a fit when they get to heaven, especially white racists, when they find out, like, damn, the kingdom is going to be ruled by blacks and Latinos. They're going to be hot because they got a time where they got to serve. I'm not going to get to it this time. I'm going to save it for next week. But they have a time where they have to serve, and then ultimately they're going to be extinguished, right? So he said, look, as of right now, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get the fatness of the earth, the best parts, and of the dew of heaven from above. It says, and by the sword shalt thou live. See, that's the thing about white people. They were blessed with the sword. In warfare, right? They're blessed. You see what they were able to do throughout history, how they were able to conquer other nations and how fast they were able to do it. That was a blessing that was given to them. We can't take that away. That's what the Most High gave them. But it's all for a purpose. That's why that dude who shot Charlie Kirk, that was his blessing. It's a reason he hit that man in the jugular. Had him looking like a Passover lamb when you slaughter. It's just, right on the money. That was his blessing. And he used it to take out his other brother. That's how white people have been blessed in this life. That's why their military might, it is what it is. That's what the Most High has given them for now. But they can't do nothing when it comes to fighting with the chosen of the Most High. When he gives us of his spirit, there's nothing they can do. And it's already been shown throughout history. Read about the Maccabees. Read about the Maccabean wars that was fought. Our people were victorious. And that's what's going to happen when we continue to get ourselves right, when we continue to celebrate the Most High's feast days the way that he says to do them, not in a way that's comfortable for us, right? When we start to keep his laws exactly how he said, not in a way that's comfortable for us, then we'll get back to seeing more of that. But it says, of the fatness of the earth you're going to dwell, the dew of the heaven from above is yours, and by the sword shalt thou live, and you're going to serve your brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing. They never tell us exactly why white people feel the way they do towards us. Something I used to kind of ponder about as a kid, like, damn, what did we do to make them that mad? This is what happened. This is what Charlie Kirk or a Trump will never explain. A textbook in class about slave history will never explain to the youth of why it is that they feel the way that they feel towards us. It's because of what we're reading. They hate the blessing that was given to us. They hate it. They hate it. They can't stand the fact that one day they are going to have to serve us. They hate the fact that the Most High loves us. They hate the fact that we look good and we do cool things just effortlessly. They hate the way that we can take nothing and turn it into nourishment. They hate the way that we take the bottom and the scraps that they give us and we shine. They hate that. But the Most High said, for all of that, they're going to serve. It says, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, this is in the mind of all white people, whether you believe it or not. This is within their mind. And if it helps you sleep better at night, think of them as sleeper agents. There are certain things that happens in white people's lives that unlocks these memories and has them come to the realization of who they are and who we are, and it makes them connect the dots to feel how they need to feel. But in the minds of white America, this is what they're thinking. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. You better believe that is what's in their heart. All praise be to the Most High, Israel. Another enemy has been taken down. More to come. Part 2 is coming next week. And I just want to thank y'all for everybody that's been building and tuning in with True Nation. Your support means everything. We ask that y'all continue to support. And don't just support in the traditional way. You know, this is a movement that needs funding. If you're somebody who has resources or expertise in certain things that can help us build as an organization, as a nation of people, please reach out. We're interested in talking to you. Y'all stay tuned. We got Room 144 coming up next with Sound Doctrine followed after that. I'm Apostle Yashimai. Thank y'all for tuning in to another segment of the Blue Strip. Israel, stay off that weird stuff. Stop falling for the ways of America. And let's learn how to start loving the Most High the way that he said we need to love him. Because when we do that, we'll learn how to love one another. And this captivity is going to come to an end real soon. For all of that, Israel, I'm going to say shalom and happy Sabbath.